name's Celeste Worna and I am an artist. I actually started quite traditional in terms of my techniques. I was a drawer, I studied fine art, and I quite liked that control and perfectionism that drawing entailed. I actually think it might have been when I had my son. I found that art, I needed it to be a release. It needed to be something that was completely free from any of that control or that rigidity. And working with the inks, I found that freedom rather than the structure of working in drawing. I was actually originally looking at images of wisteria hanging, and my whole concept in mind was the idea of flow and having this feeling of movement and just getting that energy and that feeling and the colours and the layers. But I was asked by the Ingham Institute of Medical Research to create a piece based on cancer cells as seen through the Merlin microscope. It was definitely a jump. Looks at singular cancer cells at a nano level, so it's breaking up and looking at parts of a cancer cell that we've never been able to see before. At first, when they asked me to do that piece, it was something that I was a bit reluctant to do. Just the topic of cancer itself is obviously something that is quite emotional. It's something that means a lot to most people. But then looking at those images, those cellular images, they're so beautiful. They're gorgeous actually to look at. The textures in them and the layers and the detail. You know, it's like when you stop and pick up a leaf, or it could be a virus, it could be a disease, it could be just a natural structure within yourself. They're all so beautiful, you know, all these organic things. But that really opened my eyes into working a little bit more at that cellular level and working more with that science and art crossover. One of the images I did based on the cancer cells. So it was looking at like all of the detail of the kind of different organic things that were happening with the cells, but then the membrane of like in the cell walls. And working with inks, often because they're so organic, they take a form of their own sometimes, and you know, just the scale's different, but the concept of it being an organic form and the shapes and the structures are so similar. It's quite unbelievable. A lot of my art aims to capture those things, that beauty that often is overlooked because our lives are so busy and we're always just so caught up in ourselves and everything that's happening, and we don't often stop and just reflect on how beautiful something so small can be, or so minute that, you know, I suppose can actually overtake you and encompass you if you spend time focusing on those small things.